but I can hire someone to kind of take care of that so I can concentrate on what I know is more important at this point, finding more balance, because it was taking away from kind of my direction a little, you know?
And in this world, we can't put it down, but we can create boundaries around it. And that's what I found has been the most helpful is just creating some boundaries, but most especially when you have a really stressful day, is don't kid yourself into thinking that the numbing that you're getting off of the dopamine is helping you because it's not. And that would be to me the one of the most important times to remember I'm putting my phone away because I'm stressed out as I'm walking in the door. And an hour later, you're going to feel better. And that's, it's not just the serotonin, but the oxytocin, which is that neurotransmitter of connection. So the oxytocin, when you're spending time with your kids or your partner or friend or your neighbor, whatever, but being in the analog world instead of everything, it kills me. I see my girls, they're just, oh my gosh, they're just glued to the phone, or sometimes they have a phone and a tablet and a computer going at the same time. And look, this is the world that they've grown up in. But I can't help but think about the detrimental effects, even though I can't convince them to put them down and I'm not going to force them to. But at the same time, as the kids learn from us, they're watching. And so the more we can demonstrate, that's probably more powerful than you should do this, is more I'm doing this. I'm not talking about it. I know you're going to notice, and I'm hoping it's going to rub off.
Well, isn't that the way for anybody? You could just be that example, start walking, doing the work. And then instead of saying, hey, you need to do this work, hey, you need to do this, just start doing it. And people will start noticing your shifts. Like for me, my new thing is I don't sleep with my phone in my room. I leave it in the kitchen now, and that's my thing. So then I'm not, oh, I can't fall asleep. I'm just going to pick up my phone. No, after a certain time, it's gone. It's in the kitchen, and that's kind of my new routine. And I don't even look at it right away in the morning. I'll do all my routines that we talked about. And then I'll like, okay, I check in because I realize it's so overwhelming of everything I need to get done. And yeah, so I think it's just those little changes, those little tweaks make a world of difference.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you're doing a great job in speaking about this and helping others see it. And of course, even just your reflection back about Scott with his phone, that's powerful because the one thing that you've done beautifully in honoring him is using his story as a way to resonate with others that are probably on a similar track. And that's something that I think about a lot too, because the testimony that you've put out with your book and the podcast and everything you're doing, it gives me reason to start to be creative. Well, how can I help my colleagues? Where do we get them where it hits them with the most resonance? And this is one area, emotional intelligence training is another, just better practices and ultimately having more resources. And I will say this, things have gotten so much better in even being able to talk about this in a dental setting. When I do my lectures, it's always on endodontics, but there's always personal growth sprinkled in. There's always going to be a meditation in my lectures. Like there's always going to be this opportunity to talk about, we all want to be an excellent clinician, but you can't be like a robot and go without ever like stopping for a breath. But that breath is so powerful that it might just be all that you need to keep going. So just remembering, I always like to use cues. I always say to dentists, how many times do you wash your hands in a day? Well, remember that every time you wash your hands, take a few deep breaths, right? It's just an easy way to connect one thing with the other. Because as Delphine says so beautifully, and she was on my podcast, it's hygiene, energetic hygiene, just as important as flossing your teeth. And you can think about that as you're washing your hands, you're using your breath to clean and wash your energy at the same time.
Wow, that I love that.